coordinate that. So really appreciate you jumping on here. So
I appreciate the opportunity, man. Thank you.
Yeah, we are live. Hey guys, we have an awesome show today, but we're kicking it off with Jake Douglas, qualified for the games for the first time. Congrats, Jake. Thanks for joining. Yeah, how are you doing right now?
Good, man. Yeah, I feel really good. I guess first couple of weeks of games training just kicked off, so body's adjusting. But yeah, I'm excited, man. Excited more than anything.
That's awesome. So you've been around. I look at your games profile, and you started the games. I mean, the first open you did was in 2015, and you've gotten progressively better. And then kind of maybe an injury in 2021, and now like last year you were so close, and now you've broken onto the scene. What is your first? What got you into CrossFit? What did you do before that to kind of get you to where you are today?
Yeah, so I was predominantly a rugby league, rugby union player. Traveled around the world doing that for a little while. Lived in Scotland, got to travel America, lived in Sydney for a little while, sort of chased that. When I was in high school, I'd found CrossFit, and then I sort of stumbled across the CrossFit games as well. So when I say found CrossFit, that was like CrossFit.com, like literally saw it on the website and would do, variations like a fight gone bad with bicep curls and wall ball push press or something like, random stuff like that. And then maybe in 2011, I was living in Scotland and I'd sort of stumbled across the CrossFit games. And it just sparked my interest, and I continued to play rugby and do some CrossFit, following whatever I could online. Up until, I think I still played a season of rugby in the 2015 Open. And then I stopped playing rugby and sort of chased the CrossFit stuff instead.
What made you stop rugby? Was it just getting beat up too much, or?
Yeah, that's part of it. It was hard to do CrossFit and play at the same time. Like I was doing opens in between rugby games and stuff. It was tough, man. But we live in like a remote part of Australia. So if I wanted to pursue rugby higher again, I was going to have to move either into the city or go back overseas to play. And my partner had just started nursing at the time. So it was one of those things that I just decided I'd probably sort of tick that box off of, right, I've probably played the highest level that I can, or if I wanted to play more, I was going to really have to change my lifestyle. And yeah, CrossFit was just an interest to me. So I went down that path.
You're in Tamworth, is that
Yep.
correct? Like, so where is that in relation to like what I know, Sydney, Melbourne?
If you have like, if you look at a map of Australia, you got like Brisbane and Sydney. We are like 8 hours inland of Brisbane, 6 hours inland of Sydney. So you can nearly do like a triangle from Brisbane to Sydney, is like a straight line, and we're across, if that makes sense. So we're quite inland.
Got it. Okay, so you're very rural then, for the most part.
Yeah. Tamworth itself's like a bigger city for a rural city, but yeah, we're definitely country folk out here.
Yeah. So you get, last year you just miss out. You end up, taking 5th in Oceania. What got you to that level of fitness? Was it just reps and reps and reps? Did you change anything over those years?
Yeah, so from sort of when I started CrossFit, I knew that I was really strong. Like I was snatching like 140s in 2016, like 140 kilos in 2016. So I was like, I knew that I had the strength there, but I just never, I guess, couldn't find the right recipe to add the endurance stuff in with it.
I'm with you, Jake. I'm there with you. Don't worry.
Right. I was getting even at regionals, I'd have like a couple of top 5s when I'd made it there, and then a couple of bottom 30s. So I had this like really up and down, and actually I subluxed my elbow, and then I tore my ACL in the space of about a month. So
when was that?
That was in 2019. It was nearly straight after the Down Under CrossFit Championship.
Yeah.
So,
oh wow. Okay.
Before competing for Australia at the Commonwealth Championships, and then they said I couldn't do CrossFit for a while, so I went and played some footy again and tore my ACL second game. And that was actually the best thing that happened to me, because I spent about 18 months on a watt bike, 4 or 5 times a week. I just endurance. As soon as I could run again, I just started really slow, long runs. my endurance still isn't, as good as the best guys, I guess, but it's gotten me to a point where now I could be here. So yeah, it was the best thing that happens to me in the long run.
That's crazy. And then, so this year you're looking to get into it. You have a great season. You get to semifinals. When you see the programming, what was the initial thought of yours? Like, this is in my wheelhouse?
Yeah, when I saw the heavy snatch, obviously I was really happy. And then I saw Linda, and that felt like a little bit of redemption for me. I had Linda in my first regionals, and I just shit the bed on it. Like a very
What
poor
smoked you?
Hey?
What got you in Linda the first time?
Oh man, I just tried to race from the start. I think Royce was in my heat, and I just went at it. And I knew my bench was good, but I just gassed myself out. Just a bit of nerves. So yeah, when I saw those two come out, I was really excited. And then I saw the long run in event one. I thought, we get to test it. And I knew how that event went would probably be how my weekend went if I could get a top 10 or about. So I knew I was in for a shot. So I was happy when I saw the programming, to be honest.
Yeah. Did you watch any of the first week to kind of get a sense of what that was like? And did you change any of your strategy or get kind of a sense of how to better attack it by watching week one go?
Yeah, definitely. So I watched they didn't live stream event one. That was the only one I was really interested in. But after watching it, the one that the Games podcast put out, I just noticed there were lots of guys making moves on the sled. So I slowed my paces on all the machines down, like quite significantly to what I did in training. And yeah, I end up overtaking people sort of every sled pull. Yeah, looking back on it, I wish I maybe pushed harder on the machines, but I was happy with my performance. So
yeah, it definitely looked like the sled may have been a little bit easier. The flooring was different across all the regions, but yeah, it could have thrown you off differently.
Yeah.
So all right, so you've finished third, great performance. What how much time did you take off? What is your plan going into the games?
I took a week off, so that was basically the HWPO guys just said don't do anything, which was awesome. So I got to hang out with them. And then we had a sort of taper back into volume on that first week of training, and now it's blown my mind how much training we're doing. Like, it's crazy, man. If someone had showed it to me, I would have been like, no way. But yeah, it's cool, bro. It's awesome.
Well, when did you join HWPO? I assume you're on the pro program.
Yeah, at the start of the year. So in January, I'd sort of reconnected with Matt O'Keefe, and I was just sort of looking for something a little bit more, I guess, not specific, but something that I had a connection with as well. Like, I'd sort of known him for quite a while, and yeah, it just felt like a really good fit to move over. I'd sort of been a bit of a journeyman up until then, just jump from thing to thing and whatever sort of felt right at the time.
Do you have your own individualized programming from them, or are you kind of shared just in the pro with other athletes?
Yeah, so from up until semifinals, I was just on pro, and then I would just talk to Steve about if there was anything in particular we might have changed something. We took out lots of strength work and added in more endurance work or more intervals and things like that. And then now I'm pretty much on. Steve will just send me what to do. I haven't even checked the pro site for a bit. He'll just send it through and I'll just do it.
Yeah, you hit a 310-pound snatch. What is your lifetime max?
Lifetime max of 335.
Okay.
Gosh, why did you hit such a low snatch then at semifinals, Jake? Good grief.
So yeah, no, I haven't hit. Mind you though, the 310 felt amazing. If we had more time,
that's fair. That's fair.
It looked that was the best looking snatch of all the weeks. It was so smooth.
Couldn't believe how it felt. I'd had no intention of hitting 310 either. I just wanted a top 3 in that event, and I saw one of the younger guys go out and hit 305, and I just went 295, and I knew it was going to be a top 3, so then I just put 310 on because that was the only jump. Otherwise, I would have went 306. So we had.
What was it tough with? I mean, I assume you always looked in kilograms. I mean, they had in pounds though, right? At
Yeah.
Oceana. Did that throw you off at all? I mean, I know like some of the guys that come over, like Wadapalooza, when I was standing there doing the clean and jerk, so, like Guy could, it was like I'm trying to add real quick, and everybody was kind of confused. I mean, did you guys have any issues, you specifically, or anybody else that you saw on the floor?
Guys and girls that had issues with it, like it really messes with some people. You hear them out the back, trying to write down their numbers on their arms. And for me, man, I just look at the colors of the plates, like it's going to be pretty close, and then me through the I just lay it out. If we ever have a lift like that and I know I've got time, then I'll just take a minute before we start and lay out all my lifts, and then I'll just add the weight as it goes, like sort of roll the bar forward. I try not to think about it when I'm out there.
Yeah. When are you heading over to the States?
Next week.
Okay. Where are you going? Are you heading up to Vermont or?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, man. It's going to be really cool, get around some high level guys. I've got a really good training partner in Georgia Pryor here. But it'll be awesome just to have that step up again,
Yeah. I mean, do you know anybody else that's going to be up there in Vermont? I mean, I assume there's going to be a pretty good crew.
Yeah, no, honestly, I don't really know.
Okay.
I just know there's obviously Hopper that's there full time, and I think Katrin's there the whole time as well. But yeah, I'll be key for the next few days, and I'm just keen to get into summer as well.
It'd be kind of exciting.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Well, it's fine. I was telling Spin this before the podcast. I did an analysis of how like big you actually were, height to weight ratio, and you're the only person who comes close to Jason Hopper. You guys are like way outside the norm of height to weight ratio. So get up there and throw him around a little bit.
If you don't know, Jake, Tyler has an enormous hard-on for Jason Hopper. Okay, it's ridiculous.
He's tall though. Hey, like he's taller than me.
Yeah, he's like
he's quite a bit taller. You're just like heavy for your size. I mean, it's incredible that you can move like you can, and you're this thick. That's a good thing, man.
I always get told like I'm a big guy in CrossFit, but when you look at like footy players, man, I was one of the smallest guys on my team always. So then I come into the sport and people are like, this dude's big, and I'm like, well, you have big, like.
That's what threw me off. I listened to the podcast you did with some other guy, and he said that you said you had done Aussie rules football, and I was like, man, those guys are big. The Aussie rules football player guys are humongous. They jump like, I don't know, 15, 20 feet up in the air when they jump on each other's backs and stuff. And I was like, you're an athlete if you can play ball with those guys. So
well, it's like our football players, like the best running backs in the NFL. Like the little guys are 5'8", 5'9", and like 210 still. Like, and they're the small guys that make it. So it makes sense. I think it makes sense.
So what's the difference between Aussie rules football and just rugby? I mean, what is the difference in it?
Yeah, so Aussie rules, I didn't really play much Aussie rules. It's like lots of kicking, lots of running. Those guys are like really fit. And very athletic. They jump and you sort of got to kick it through posts for points. And then rugby is like 15 men aside, and basically it's just direct contact, trying to get a ball over a line, score a try. And then there's rugby league, which is 13 men, very similar, but you only get 6 tackles, whereas union you get unlimited.
You said you hurt your ACL doing when you went back. Did you hurt anything? Like, do you have any other injuries prior to that were significant? No.
Had sort of niggles from rugby over the years that just sort of went away the more I did CrossFit, like just rib stuff and shoulder stuff from just, using my body as a battering ram, basically. But yeah, no, I feel besides the elbow and the knee, everything's come quite good. And I'm even, I got told so many times that I probably wouldn't make it back to this level after a knee surgery. So, really grateful for it.
Did you do like a lot of prehab and rehab stuff while you played rugby? And then did you carry that over to when you started doing CrossFit too? Like, did you set good habits back then?
Yeah, I've always trained. I don't know whether you would call it prehab, rehab back then, but I always did my strength and conditioning. It wasn't super popular back in the day. But I can remember hitting the gym, at 12, 13. That's when I started in the actual gym environment, So I've always done gym work, 3 to 5 times a week for 20 years now.
Have you talked to anybody that's been to the games to kind of get any advice or tips on how to approach a 15 event weekend? The amount of volume is going to be way different than semifinals. A lot of times it's a shock for those guys that are in there as a rookie. Have you had a chance to talk to anybody and get some tips?
No, not so much. I think I'll just probe Fraser when I get to Vermont and see what he can give me. He was really helpful for me coming into semifinals as well. We had a FaceTime and sort of set my nerves down a little bit. Made me feel a lot better about events. So I think I'll just use, if there's a guy you're going to ask, it's probably him, right?
That'd be a very good one. Very good one.
Yeah. And then as for the volume, I'm excited about it. Like, I'm excited to see. I think it's going to turn more mental than physical in the last couple of days. But again, I'd prefer to be doing a 15 event CrossFit weekend than a round robin rugby tournament. I can tell you that.
Obviously, we know that you'd want to see some type of big lift. Outside of that, if you look at like last year's programming, the first, when Boz programmed it, were there any other those types of events that you're like, man, I wish I would have been there that year? It's kind of, maybe something that may surprise people that you may be really good at that we can look forward to in this year.
Oof, I don't know. I think I like the shuttle to overhead. I just think that was a cool event, like the mixture of it. I like the Jackie Pro with the how they had the time cap on the row.
The 315.
Cool. I think I like the Echo press workout as well. I'm just excited to test there, I guess, and see. I think that competition's a funny thing. Like, you don't really know what's going to happen till you get out there.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna steal Savon's question. What's the goal this year?
Man, honestly, I want to get there and experience it because it's been something that I've had on this pedestal for so long, like nearly 12 years I've watched the games and just thought, far out, I just really want to be there. And then for me, man, it's like kick in the door and enjoy it. Like if I can swing for a home run, I'm going to swing for it. I feel like, have you guys seen the movie The Replacements?
Yeah.
The other day, I was like, I'm like the replacement in the CrossFit world. Like, it's like Ricky's
got nothing to lose.
Over here, Beto took the year off, and then I just fucking, right place, right time. I'm just gonna try and suffer and fight for points on the workouts that I'm gonna not be great at. And then if there's something that's within my reach, man, I'm just gonna try and I like to think of it like I might not win an event, but I'm gonna make it really hard for someone to win it if it's something that I'm good at. Like,
what would that something be for us, other than snatch, obviously?
Look, I just think like anything heavy, strongman-y type stuff, or sprints. Like I'm typically pretty good at those kind of workouts, but I don't know. I think it'll just be one of those things that if I get a good movement in a workout, then I'll be chuffed with it.
Yeah, send it.
Yeah.
Most people think of Australia as people living on the coast. Obviously, you're more inland. Swimming, I mean, is that going to be something that you're not looking for?
Are you going to hold up the Australian reign in swimming?
I can tell you right now, like I'm no Khan or James Newbury.
I don't think we've ever seen an Australian that wasn't good at swimming, Jake. So this is going to be a new experience for us.
I can give you guys the inside scoop that between me and Bailey Martin, we're going to get a top 40 placing. That's for sure. No, I don't know, man. I can swim, but I'm like pretty slow, eh? Like I've swum for a while, but very, very poorly.
Well, maybe they'll skip it this year. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I mean, I like the look of the pool.
They're not going to skip it. No hope for that. You're going to be swimming.
Hopefully,
Jake. Just.
Well, I mean,
hopefully they'll do that 2014 workout with the muscle ups and the pool swim, so you save you a little bit.
Remember the workout they did with I think it was the COVID year, the Echo swim.
Oh yeah. We just had to go down. And that's it.
Yeah.
Even last year, I mean, all you do is got to finish in time, and then you just pull the heck out of that skier. So something like that would be a lot better for you.
Yeah, 100%. But we'll see. I mean, I'm preparing for him to say, all right, K swim.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome, Jake. Well, I appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of your training. enjoy your time in Vermont, and we'll see you up in Madison.
Yeah.
No worries.
Thank you for
Thanks.
coming on with us, Jake.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
See you guys.
All right. Thanks, man.
See you.
All right. That was a cooler dude.
The
man.
replacements. I can't believe he brought up the replacements.
He's Keanu, man.
That's good stuff. We got all kinds of people in here. Yeah, Tyler's got a new hairdo. He's getting all cleaned up for us. All right, guys. So
He's getting married, guys. This is his fresh cut.
it is. What
Such
is the
Nick
date?
got on me about that. I'm not getting married till October, but I got to try stuff out before I can't go from short hair or long hair
I thought
to
it
short
was
hair.
happening.
Yeah. I thought it was like
It seemed
the
all good the other day. I thought we were like, the day before or something. I was expecting Instagram to hop up anytime.
No, the motivation for getting the haircut is purely the wedding and trying to figure out new haircuts. But that's why I said that. And then everybody's like, "Oh, you're getting married this week, huh?" And I was like, "No."
Well, you went so short. I figured you like start with the mullet, then maybe try some other options.
Yeah, work down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Unsporty Beth wants to come to your bachelor party, so just keep that in mind. Don't forget her. All right. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about the worldwide rankings, and we came up with
How great they were.
How we love them, but we're thinking.
And they're
about,
updated today. Did you
And
see
they-
that? Thought that was funny.
I saw that, and I haven't looked at them yet.
They didn't look any different. I
I-
don't know what they updated, but
I don't know. I have them saved down, so I'll see what they've updated tomorrow. But in that conversation, we had this discussion of what if we did some type of basically like an AP poll for football or basketball, like a top 25. And so I didn't forget about it. And we have completed the Spin top 25 games poll.
is it called that?
The
if
official.
Everybody did it.
It is.
I think we have to
Spin
come
poll.
up with a better name than the Spin poll.
It's the
Spin poll.
It's the Spin top 25 games poll, man.
All right.
So just like the AP poll, this article just came out. It's a forward-looking poll that we've now worked with. I think it's 11 people have contributed to it. They submitted they voted, they put their ballots in for the top 25 that they think will finish at the games. And men and women, just like the AP poll, those now are aggregated. You get 25 points if you take first place, 24 all the way down to 1 point if you take 25th. If you're not on that list, you're finishing somewhere 26th to 40th. So you get 0 points. Good luck. Hopefully somebody votes for you. So we got some pretty cool people in here. Of course, myself, John, and Tyler are on this. Savon is joined, Andrew Hiller, Chase, Pedro, Amanda Harry, Barkley Dale, Chad Schroeder, and then Sarah Beth Jumper. You may remember her, Sarah Beth Phillips. She used to be at regionals years ago. I'm talking with her, so she's throwing her hat in the mix. And then Derek, who is my neighbor. He's done some of the podcasts when I first started up, and so he has thrown it in there. There's some thoughts of getting some more on here. The one thing that I do want to say, and I'll be sharing this soon, is I've set up a Patreon. And the reason being is there's a couple things. You as a fan can actually sign up as a Patreon, and you can then vote. And one of the ballots will be a combined fan ballot. So
a fan vote. That's awesome.
So the 12th one in this scenario, when we do the next one, if you sign up for Patreon, you'll get a link. You'll get to go sign up, put yours in there. Those will consolidate into a single fan vote so that you'll be part of the mix for participating and creating these rankings.
That's the coolest reason to join a Patreon.
Hold on. Do you want to do that as the 12th person or then have them as a whole separate column?
It's
the fans, right? So they shouldn't go into the poll. They should have their own like the coaches.
We'd have a fan poll. You could have a fan poll. Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
no, yeah, that's the coolest reason to do a Patreon ever. So please do that.
Yeah. So if you go, I'll try to get it here in a second. If you go to Patreon, you go to the app, look up the Barbell Spin, or it's patreon.com/the Barbell Spin. There's two options. There's just a kind of generic support level there. What's also cool about that is I'm posting every time I post an article, it's now going on, the link is going on Patreon. So you will get it before it hits Instagram, and you can get notified that way via email or the Patreon app. So I've had a lot of people ask me, like, how do I just get notified? Because sometimes Instagram is, the algorithm doesn't put it in front of you. You'll get an email or a pop-up on Patreon that will say, hey, new article, here's the headline, here's kind of the teaser of it, go check it out. There's a couple other options. The next tier is where you get to vote. When Tyler gets his new app running, there will be specific games and things of that nature as well. So you'll be able to participate in that. Hopefully I'll get some sponsorship prizes and things, so you'll be able to play for that. So, and every once in a while, we will do a selection for that top tier to come join the three of us and debate, and you can go yell at John or Tyler or myself and tell us why we're wrong. So
wait, what was the other one? What did you say?
So if you are in that $10 tier and you're voting, we'll also do every once in a while, we'll select somebody from that group.
A fan debater?
So a fan
debater. Y'all don't want this smoke.
So just watch out, Trish. Maybe Trish will sign up. She'll come on.
Trish can't reveal herself. Trish has to stay.
It'll be a black screen. It'll be a black screen. The voice will be changed, but maybe she'll.
Please do that, Trish.
So yeah,
we'll change her voice to Justin Berg's. Voiceover.
Big reveal. It just is Justin Berg.
Yeah. So yes, Nick needs to cancel his Talking Elite Fitness Patreon membership. Nick, come on over to the good side.
Nick,
come on, man. So what was interesting, I got these and I was seeing, like, obviously when we do our own, we've done our rankings. We did the way too early predictions last week. Was it just last week? And Tyler leaves off people, and I have Brent way down, and you see biases in all of our picks. What's interesting is when you look at this poll that's on here, like, it all starts to make sense. Like, they all start to average out. You're not seeing some crazy like rankings when you're looking at just a single person. And so, here Justin and Laura are number one. Pat and Jeff are 2 and 3 on the men's side, and Danielle Brandon and Annie Thorstadter took second and third. So on the men's side here.
Oh, I love the parentheses first place votes.
Yeah, so
that's great.
So yeah,
who is the one at Jason Hopper? Huh? Look at there.
When Spin sent a screenshot of this earlier to me, and I was like, "Damn!"
So you know who. Yeah, so we have 11
this
people.
This is so awesome. Poor Sam Quant.
Sam with no first place. Even Jeff Adler, like, he's third, but nobody said he was going to win it. Like, everybody has him up there at the top.
I'm going to pull up mine just to compare. Yeah.
I would be interested to see how the games ends up going versus this. Once the games goes on, how it ends up with this order.
I mean, you look at it and you're like, I don't see anything that's like stands out as saying like these picks are just outrageous.
I'm just thinking Brent at 7th, Dallin at 8th. I could see all these, Lazar at 9th and BKG at 10th. They are always together. I can see this all happening.
Yeah, like it's wild. I mean, it all came together, and so you see what I've put on here is where they finished in their semifinal, what region. what they placed at last year's games if they competed as an individual, and then their total points. Again, 25 goes to first, 24 to second, 23 all the way down to 1 for 25th. And then in parentheses is the number of first place votes. So yeah,
this is the average of 12 different analysts, some women, some men, and we are a part of that board. The board, we'll call it the spin board.
Yep. So Alyssa, yeah, we have 12 people. I think maybe we added one at the last minute of people in the media that have contributed to this. They've given the rankings. We've put them all together, combined all the ballots. And this is what you're looking at. If you watch college football, you watch college basketball, you see this throughout the season. What we'll do is we'll update it once a month. We may do it twice next month. We'll see if there's anything that happens, but at least once a month. And then after the games in August, it's now the 2024 picks. So we can add back Tia, we can add back Brooke Wells, we can add Ricky. All those people that, Danny Spiegel, Hiller was very disappointed he couldn't pick Spiegel just because of her Instagram following. So all of those people are back in the mix, and you'll see a whole different leaderboard come August, because now we have 12 months of watching what's happening, watching all the off-season events, making those changes. It's going to be cool.
Hey, just so I know,
who
are the other Vellner people?
I don't know offhand. I don't know.
Come on, man.
This will be really cool when I finally release the app. This is going to be really useful for when you're playing people.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. See, Nick, you can be part of it too. Have the fan poll. And so, we come on down here.
And guys, spread this out, because we need this to spread as open as possible to make this kind of official. Like right now, it's just us doing it, and it is official for us. But to make it legitimately official amongst actual CrossFit, we need it to reach as many people as possible.
Alyssa, can the analysts change their picks at any time, affecting the rankings real time? Not any time. We'll have a set schedule of when it gets updated, and we'll ask everybody to submit their ballots. You could submit the same if you don't think anything's going to change. If you see somebody on Instagram hurts their elbow, hits some big PRs, something like that, go, at that point you'll be able to make those changes. You'll see, I'll be adding a column showing the trend how much they moved up or down from the last time. So you'll get to
and you said you were just polling us once a month, correct?
Yep. Yeah. So
what's interesting, when I did this, I shared it with you guys. This was the hardest thing to do.
There's one of them.
There you go.
So it's just one other person then, right?
Yeah. It made me think, because you've kind of done this with Brian for a while, where you're constantly doing these polls, and it's actually good to go through it, and then now I can just adjust it to how I feel.
Yep.
As opposed to having to start from scratch every single time. It was so hard to do this, I thought.
Yeah, you made some changes from your way too early predictions to now.
Yeah. Well,
and look, Colton made it into the top 25. At a baby.
Yep, there's the top 25, and then you have others that receive the votes. So you'll see Yellow Hoste, Upanex, Parker, Fabian.
This looks so good, Brian. You need to post on Instagram just this screen. It looks so good.
Yep. After this, I'll be posting. I have at least the top 8, so that'll be coming up. So everybody can see it. And so now on the women's side, here are the women. Laura Horvath with 6 first place votes, Danielle Brandon with 2, Annie Thorisdottir with 2, Emma Carey with 2. And so the tiebreaker is the number of first place votes or the number of times that you were voted on.
Jeez, Danielle Brandon is second.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I voted for Annie to get first, so I wonder who the other person is.
Gabby is being disrespected.
Dude,
she finished 8th last year.
Gabby was a hard pick. Gabby was hard to slot in. And
so you disrespected her. You're one of the people.
No. I put her at 4th. But I don't know that that's firm. there's
Dude,
some
she's
movement
third or
that can
fourth.
happen.
I think it's a
happen here.
firm third or fourth.
You think so, Gabby?
Yeah, I'll make you a bet that she beats Danielle Brandon.
There's no way. No way.
We already made this bet, Brian.
Yeah,
Y'all remember this? This is the Murph bet.
It is. It is. Barry McCockner, always wear that same colored shirt. I don't own any blue shirts, so.
How come
try-
Alexis
try
Raptors
to-
doesn't have a 1 next to her name, Tyler?
Yeah, that is a good question, Tyler.
Ellie Turner's
Get
12th.
8 to 9.
Y'all didn't think she would be that high.
Yeah, I didn't have her up that high. I mean,
I had her
But
at
I mean-
14th.
Alex Gazan is getting overrated right now. I'm sorry, Alex. I think
There
you're
was
overrated right
I contemplated her a lot if it's just recency bias, like if we're hot on her because she did so well. I ranked her at 9th. So
now. I think that's where I think I have her 10th. Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, if we have her 9th and 10th, that means people have her like 5th.
mm-hmm.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? She's getting
Mhm.
she's getting overhyped right now.
But what you see though is similar to what we saw in some of the semifinals. Is there's a tier, right? Like 1st through 6th, right? Gabby had 246 points, and then Alex and
It's
Alexis,
211. Yeah, big jump.
Yeah, like there's a big jump, right, from 246 to 211. That's like as I was getting some of these votes in and I was kind of putting them in, I could see how the points would change. And for the most part, it was like maybe a spot or two, right? Like it's really hard to leapfrog unless you're getting a first
Into
place
that
vote
top
or
tier.
something like that. Yeah, like as you get further
Yeah.
down, it's just again like the events at semifinals or the games. Like as you get further down and you have less points, one great ranking will kind of move you up. But once you get into this top tier, you're kind of stuck there.
You know what? I got really self-conscious while I was doing these, and I was like, I don't.
I don't know how to respond to that. Honestly, that's an awesome comment. It's pretty good.
But I didn't want to have some like wild ass, like I was like, Jason's going to be one of my wild ass ones, but I was like, I want to be pretty close to like what the group's going to say. I'm okay with having 1 or 2. But did you see any that you were like, there's no, that like somebody voted that was like, this is way off. There's no way it's this high.
What for your first place?
No, that for any that you were just like, there's no way this person's this good.
Danielle, Brandon, and Alex Gazan. I'm saying the ones I think are off, Tyler.
I'm asking Spin. He looked at 12 different people.
I mean, not really. I mean, they all kind of moved. You know, I think one had Danielle Brandon. Like, I mean, obviously you say 2, but like, or one somebody had Laura Horvath like 10th or something like that. So like that was probably the biggest one where I was
Who
like,
did
wait.
that? They need to be outed.
Don't tell. Don't tell.
I told everybody the first one is you get
Anonymous.
Anonymous. The second one, everybody's picks will then be highlighted.
So
Okay.
Peter from Coffee Pods and Wads, he was like, "Oh my gosh, what people are going to rip my rankings to shreds." And I go, "I don't think he's showing everybody's. I think it's just a collective." And he goes, "Oh, thank God, it was going to be so bad." What did you do?
Be really great is we can rank everyone. I mean, we're going to do this anyway because I'll invite everybody who was on that poll to play in a game. But
Go ahead.
we'll be able to rank everybody who voted now. To
And
see
the
how
last place person of the ranking gets kicked out of the board.
It's like Premier
We will
League.
bring a new person
Yeah.
on. I'm
Yes.
serious about that. I think if you are the last person, you get kicked out.
So Tyler's out after this.
Tyler, do you think you cannot be last? Can you please? Can you just
Dude,
go
I
use the
always-
computer one time?
You know this.
if it's
I
something
always
crazy.
do well in the fantasy leagues. I always do well in the fantasy leagues, and then the last day I freak out, man, and I ruin it.
And then you
You
drop like a rock.
just don't get last. Because I mean, we have to hold this to it. If you get last, I mean, you're off the podcast. You heard Brian. You're
That's
no longer.
That's something
You're
That's
done with CrossFit. We're gonna send you a little letter that says Tyler is done with
you
CrossFit
can't.
because he got last.
That's something I want to do for the fantasy app though. Is like do that exactly. You have like the pros, and we're all in a league together, and we can kind of do a podcast like this, and we if you if you get last, you're bounced out. You're in probation, and we like let a fan come up and be part of the league,
Yeah,
and
I'm
then you can
super
come back
down.
in.
My fantasy
Yeah.
finishes speak for themselves. Okay, I'm not
John's
worried
pretty
at all.
good.
Yeah.
I don't like to give John compliments, but he's pretty damn good at fantasy. So
Yeah, see, we're gonna start ranking our CrossFit athletes, so it's a new thing. So
It's
we've
fair.
started our
Fair.
own our poll, and now we'll be all ranked. Heidi's not here, but happy birthday to Heidi. Saw that on Instagram. So yeah, I think this poll is pretty cool. Olivia Kerstetter there breaking into the top 25. And then the others receiving votes. You'll see there's a lot more women who received a vote.
I like seeing the received a vote because you kind of can see like who people wanted to put. Like, so some people might have put somebody in there, but other people didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, Fee has 22, Sydney has 22. So a few of those had, they're better than just 25th, right? So, yeah. I mean, you see
who had Say Her Kaya.
There were a couple that had Sayer in like 24th, 25th, something like that.
My goodness.
I voted for Alyssa Fuliano. I'll admit to that one.
That's fine. I'm not against Fuliano. I voted for Shelby Neal.
Yeah. What about Emma?
I like this. This is so fun.
Emma McQuaid. Just saw McQuaid seems criminally underranked.
So
yeah,
I don't have a problem with that ranking though. If you look at her games finishes, I don't think they're that much better than that. So if people think she's on the downward trend, kind of like what Brian thinks with Fikowski. Like we all thought Fikowski was going to do great, and Brian's like, I think he's on his way down. And I mean, he wasn't. But like, if there's a few people that think that about Emma, if I had Emma 15th and they had her 25th, and that's where she ends up, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? It's more criminal to have Alex Gazan 4th or Danielle Brandon winning the CrossFit game. Because
those are the capital sins.
Danielle
for
Brandon
Brian,
is not beating Laura Horvath. You could put 3 handstand push-up events in the CrossFit Games. Danielle Brandon still won't beat Laura Horvath.
But you look at Danielle; she finished second among those returning.
Well, I don't want to talk about Danielle. We're past that. On to the next one.
You can't pick and choose arguments, John.
Yeah. So
argue about Danielle Brandon forever. That's not.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Emma; like she's always kind of been in that right outside the top 10, right around the top 10. But then you look at Europe in 10th, at the semifinals. Like you have to weigh is current performance versus what she's done. So I think I think pretty much everybody had her in there. It was just not. I did down near the end.
Oh, I forgot you had Sevon on the board, didn't you?
Sevon is on the board, yeah.
He did vote for Danielle Brandon. You're so right, Sarah. Sevon is skewing this.
Yeah, he needs to be outed first. I need to know what.
No,
Sevon's
it's got to be last
were.
place. If he doesn't get last place, he's still in. Okay, like Hiller makes some egregious picks sometimes, but he's usually okay. He usually does okay.
There's no way Sevon picked. He paid someone to pick for him. There's no way he did it. He can't sit still for 10 minutes.
Okay, Brian, you saw the list. We haven't seen all the individual lists. Do you think those are representative of what you think Sevon would say? Do you think he made his picks?
If there's not a
because he also had he had to resend me twice because he had a duplicate on and the men and the women. He had to redo it. So
there you go.
I'm pretty sure that was him.
I mean, last place goes to somebody else. Like I'm excited. I'm almost more excited about the last place race than trying to win first.
Yeah. I mean, this is there might be a few others. I tried to get Bill Grundler. He had some stuff going on, so we might be able to get him on, adding to it. And we'll see if we can get some more people in here. So yeah, we'll update it next month. Keep an eye on it. And I think I saw somebody. Where's Kelly Baker on this list? She got one person to vote 25th for her. So
honorable mention.
Yeah, she's on. She's listed, but not very well.
Please label it that next time. Honorable mentions.
No, I like others receiving, but it's very college football-esque.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the van vote, like what they have for the top 25. And like I would like to see the first place numbers for the fan vote. I think that would be awesome. You know what I mean?
I almost want to hide this. I want to hide it so they can't cheat, like, and look at ours. I want like honest.
Clydesdale or
fan
talking
votes.
Elite Fitness?
What's
What are we
that?
talking about?
Looking at our stuff.
No. The fans. I like when
Oh.
they go to vote. I don't want them to look at
No,
the
it's
poll.
fine. Fans have favorites.
The
That's
spin
You'll see
poll.
it.
fine.
You'll see it.
They're gonna vote with their heart and use that as a guideline. They don't know everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're
Vote with your heart.
the top 10, they probably know the top 10, and they'll vote the top 10, and then after that they'll just kind of, copy what analysts they like the best. I'm fine
And
with
always
that.
remember, folks, watch the events. Just watch the events.
Yep.
You just watch it. It's not that hard to pick who's gonna do good.
Yep. So there it is, patreon.com/the barbell spin. Go sign up, become a supporter or contribute. You'll get to be part of the poll and have your voice heard. And then maybe even get to come yell at John and Tyler, and then John will tell you why you're wrong. So,
And
I was thinking
absolutely,
about this last.
Barry McCockiner, if some fan out there can make better picks than I have, we will have you on the board. Okay,
It ain't
absolutely.
gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
I
go
don't
sign
even
up.
have it either,
Go
but
go sign up. Support the show. Put your picks on
Support
there.
it.
We'll see if you get invited and show that you know what you're doing.
I was thinking about this last episode. There was like 4,000 views or something. There might be more now, but when I looked, there was like 4,000 views, and I was like, if everyone who viewed the video gave us $1, we could have John a full-time $50,000 paid job a year.
I just threw that out there. I didn't know I was gonna get so much heat. But that's a good paying job. You are middle America. There ain't nothing wrong with that. I got so
You're in
much
Texas,
heat for
man.
that.
You did.
You got to pay to use the roads in Texas.
I live in
That's not
Texas. I
enough.
don't live in California. Okay.
That's fair.
You work remote, right?
Yeah.
So we'd be remiss not to talk about the biggest news. I know you guys were on Savon's podcast when it broke. You've had some more time to kind of think about it, process it. But Dave taking back his role as leading the games. Obviously, we don't know too many details of it beyond what was kind of told to us initially. But Tyler, do you have any additional thoughts after taking 24 hours to reflect on it?
Yeah, there were things that weren't said. I think the thing that really sums it all up is what Dave. I think in the short term, Dave's mission is going to be much different than it is in the long term. I think in the short term, it's to make sure we execute on the game. So that's why when I text you guys, I said patch the boat. He's making sure that we don't have any holes. And the reason I think that is because I think what his job will be like the future business of the games, like the bigger outlook, the partnerships and all that stuff, where we're going. And that's why I made the note, fan perceptions bleed into funding. How do we feel? How have we felt about the sport for the last 6 months? Like there's just one thing after another that's always a problem. And it's like eventually, man, you just get burnt out. And then when you get burnt out, you pull out of the sport. Then funding pulls out of the sport because they're like the fans are leaving, right? And so it's hard. If you're not executing at 100%, it's hard. It's going to be hard to get funding, and it's going to be even harder coming up here soon. So yeah. And then the last note I had was Dave's success on other teams. This was just like an offhand note. Like basically his rise has been, since his return to CrossFit, has been really rapid. And so he's only been on a couple teams since he's made huge differences. And so it's like Don saw that and was like, yeah, you're back on the team immediately. And I kind of want to know more about what he did on the other teams to impress Don that much. But yeah, that was my thing. The business success in being great at execution, I think, is Dave's first task, and then they'll move forward.
Yeah, I think the team's part. I mean, he did the Army. I can't remember exactly, but he went with the Army and got them involved. I mean, he's partnered with Spartan Race. He's done some stuff with that. He's obviously talked to Jocko, and next thing you know, that they're partnering. Yeah, I mean, he probably understands CrossFit's mission better than anybody, right? Or what it should be. Barry McHockner, look, John, got your new job fund started, $4.99. Thank you, Barry.
Hey, just
this will go a long
$5 a
way.
month can save a struggling CrossFitter out there. There's a lot of us. In the arms of an angel will play across the back screen as I do ring muscle ups, and then your donation can save a CrossFitter.
Yeah, that's right. I think you're right. Tyler, when I was seeing the news, I thought about the timing of it, and every week at the semifinals we had something that came up, right? And it's being amplified. The last thing you want to see is that same amplification at the games, right? And if things are missed or dropped because of lack of attention to detail or unclear marching orders or whatever it is, you just can't have that. It's the biggest. Everybody's be watching that, right? Semifinals, you're getting the diehard fans. There's still a lot that watch it, but the games draws people that aren't CrossFit fans, and you can't have mix-ups. And I think that's why it is now. If you wait till after the games and you have another big mistake that impacts how an athlete don't do well or impacts the finish, then it's a big issue, right? And I think Dave can come in there and kind of set that path and make sure that everything is taken care of properly. Do you agree, John?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think like the running point on Sevon was the difference between Dave and Justin is just Dave is going to be direct. Dave is going to try to get things done. You might not agree with everything that he puts into place, but regardless, he's going to go at it with 100% intention. He's going to try to get the job done to the best of his ability, and he will let you know what he's doing. And I think he's probably, if we think that about him, I assume that's what he did on every team that he's been on. And as a leader or as a CEO like Don, I think you can respect that. And I think, as long as he has the resources he needs, I don't know how he's not successful if everybody's trying their hardest and everybody cares to grow CrossFit and we're all on the same page. Where CrossFit does not grow is when we're all on different pages. But if Dave's like, hey, this is what we're doing, let's do it. This is how, let's figure out how to do it. This is what we're doing. You might not like it. It's what we're working with. And I think fans can get behind that. I think they'll trash it. They'll put, comments on it, right? All the stuff. But I remember when the open announcements, people would always comment, why is he trying to, everything makes it about Dave? He's always has to be about Dave, or he tries to be this face. But I miss open announcements. I think when Dave did open announcements, that type of stuff brought a lot of fans into CrossFit. I mean, I thought that stuff was cool.
Stop echoing there, John.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to stop echoing. I heard it.
Yeah. I don't know what Oswaldo Gonzalez is talking here, but what about Justin C comments on Talking Elite Fitness? You guys know? I watched both.
Oh yeah, Justin Kotler. Yeah. I think it's a bit overblown, but he does have a point. Like, I do remember the days of the CrossFit toxicity, like getting excommunicated. And I do remember those days. I mean, Brian, you probably remember them better than I do. That was a thing, but I think we have grown, and the communication piece with CrossFit, I think, has helped us a lot. And I think Dave will have learned from that. I'm not as scared, afraid. I think Justin made too big of a deal about it, personally.
Kotler.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously speaking from personal experiences in the past.
And he's thinking about his athletes when he's talking.
Yes. He has his own prerogatives, and I get that.
Yeah.
And I can respect that too.
Yeah. So if he got burned or one of his athletes got burned at one point, I mean, obviously that's gonna weigh in differently than if you haven't or had different experience with it. Teddy Williams. Didn't Justin say somewhere he knew about Dave getting fired earlier than he was comfortable with? It makes me wonder if Dave has known for a bit too. I think, yeah, you listen to that, and I think even when Talking Elite Fitness did the interview with, Hiller said that, right? Like he was with Dave, and you start piecing
Hiller
things
knew
back
for
together.
a while.
Part of me wondered if Hiller was like looking for things and making bigger things out of little things that he might have saw. He was just looking like, was that something? Yeah, that's probably something.
I don't
know what I
know.
mean? But I get what he means. Everything. I do think everything with Dave is a test, as weird as that is. But yeah.
When he said, "Did you notice I didn't make a video out of it?" That kind of made me think, yeah, he knew some stuff a lot longer, because he makes a video out of everything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of us, I've heard, and I'm not very well connected. I know some folks, but I'm not as well connected as Mr. Spin here. There was some talk that something was about to happen for months before semifinals. And Justin Berg had to have known that. And then with each screw up, how do you not? But maybe he didn't, because he had podcasts with Talking Elite Fitness and things like that. And it's like, if you're talking that confidently, then maybe you don't know. But a lot of us knew. Maybe not with him in particular, but we knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, I'd heard rumblings, but I didn't think it was going to be until after the games. So, with the mix-up and the shakeup of, the job cuts earlier a couple months ago, and even Don on Pedro's podcast, you just got a sense that there was some, that was the next look. You just didn't know when.
Right.
So I think it'll be good. I think Dave can step in there, right the ship. It's bringing excitement regardless of what happens. We're all talking about it. We're all excited to see what the games are going to look like now. I think the programming is probably it's not set, right? They have the demo team that's going to go in there and kind of fine tune things. But for the most part, I'm
logistics is what he would deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. So my guess is that's kind of where he'll weigh in there. More John funds here. We've always known the sport needs to be more digestible. This year was 2 steps forward, 1 step back the entire time. A lot of good overshadowed by blunders. Nick, $9.99. Thank you very much. I think he's right. As much as we didn't like the shuttle runs and things like that, I think it's gotten the right people where they need to be. But every single competition, there was something that we talked about that did not go smoothly. And, and nothing was ever acknowledged. So, again, Dave will straight shooter. We'll hear what he has to say when there is. And going back to Kotler, waiting to give an example. I agree. I just don't know if he wants to go into that level of detail. Maybe throw somebody under the bus or bring somebody else into the mix, right?
Guys. Oh, go ahead.
Who's the Adam Schefter of CrossFit?
I think Brian's the Adam Schefter of CrossFit.
You think so? You think so?
Yeah. I feel like you try to get to things as fast as possible. I think you're one of the best people at that. What do you think, Tyler?
Who is Adam Schefter?
He's the guy that comes out with like the breaking news for the NFL, like really quick, or like LeBron's getting traded, whatever. Like the breaking news, he's the first guy to it.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't watch other sports, so I don't know.
Travis, can we share a room at the games? It won't be the same without you. I'm still trying to figure that out. But in the meantime, you can go to vindicate.com, use code SPIN, save 15% off. Travis just burned the boats, left his comfy day job, and is now going all in on Vindicate.
Oh, he's full-time Vindicate?
We got new Colton Merton shirts, don't we?
Yeah, we got the new Colton Merton shirts, yeah. So
Travis, I'm gonna buy one. My wife won't let me buy 2. So if you want to send one to us in my wife's size, that would be appreciated. We would both wear it, and I will buy my size.
Yeah. So go to vindicate.com, check out his stuff, support him, get Travis, get him that money. He needs to get to the games, sell some more merch. It looks like I saw something on. He'll be there for a pop-up store on Friday somehow. So he's worked his way in. So that'll be pretty cool. And Travis been a good dude. Shared the room in Miami at Wadapalooza. So good guys. Stayed with Gabe, Rolo, Domo. So it'll be good.
Travis, hit me up because I need a bunk buddy.
There you go. He'll have Colton shirts at the games. Pop-up location announced soon. So stay tuned.
You going to the games, Tyler?
Yeah, it was a dip. I was not expecting to go to the games, and now I am. So
That's fine.
Well, Nick got his Colton shirt. So awesome. All right. Anything else on Dave before we move on to our top 5 athlete/event performances?
Oh, I forgot we were
games?
doing this.
I know.
Let's move on to that. I'm excited to see what y'all pick.
I will say we talked about this before, and you guys each shared yours with me separately. I'd already put mine in before that. I think we only have one duplicate throughout.
Oh wow! I had a lot that were like, I had about 9-ish where they were all really, really, really close. And then now, and also I took this as top 5 like full event performances, not like moments. For instance, the Fraser winning the sprint to me, like when Sean was like, "What can't this guy do?" Like stuff like that. To me, that's a moment. It's not like a full event performance. Or Josh winning push pull. You know, Josh should win push pull. You know, in my opinion, that was so. For my rankings, that's what I was going by.
For the most part, I think, I was surprised there is a 6-year champ that was not on the list. So Tia was not on this list.
So for my 5th one, it was going to be the 5th one. So I mean, you're the last one. But I almost picked her when she won the yoke. The yoke event where she almost did it in one interval, the yoke Hay-Bell GHD one.
I almost picked that same one.
Probably one of the most dominant performances of all time in an event. I felt the same way about Fraser's Friendly Fran, but I was like, can you pick an online one? You know what I mean? But Fraser's Friendly Fran and Tia's yoke one, those are the 2 probably most dominant. I'd be interested to see the Z-score on those because they're probably
it's off the charts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the pinnacle example of Z-score. He beat everybody by like a crazy margin. That's like the biggest example of Z-score that exists.
It's Friendly Fran. I've never seen a more dominating performance in a one workout than Fraser's Friendly Fran. It's just online, and that's why I couldn't put it up there.
Yeah.
Especially in that workout, I don't think there'll ever be another performance like that ever again.
I don't think so either. It like that. I don't know. That defines Fraser being the fittest man like ever. For me, is that Friendly Fran is one of those things that sticks out to me. Why I would have him over Rich, because Rich can't do that. Like he just physically he can't do it, and Matt can. That's okay. Let's go top 5.
All right. Number 5. I have Alexis Raptis at last year's 2022 Echo Press.
All right.
Okay.
So
that's
Tyler,
a good one.
I know is
do we want to go down the line and you tell your reasoning?
Yeah. So Alexis Raptis, 2022 Echo Press. You probably obviously know she won, but she won by over a minute against Tia. Only 17 women finished the event, and she finished. It was a 12-minute time cap. She finished in 6:41. Like,
she's
absolutely destroyed it. Like, nobody was even close. And so, that's. I mean,
I'm looking it up real quick.
I really, really wish Carrie Pierce was at the same time as Alexis. It would have just been really fun to see handstand push-up battles between those 2, because Carrie was just better than everybody. Nobody was close. And then as soon as she retired, Alexis is just better than everybody. Nobody's close. It would just been real fun to see those two together.
Yep. John, Rich Froning, the 2014 21-15-9 complex.
Yeah, and big thing about this one is he was in heat 3. Like he had sucked. He
heat
just
3 of
did
4,
triple
right?
3. What?
It was heat 3 of 4. So he was.
Yeah, triple 3 happened, and he walked, and it looked like this. It looked like he wasn't gonna win.
He was 12th in that one going into that.
Yep, and I believe was it on Saturday?
Friday afternoon.
Okay, so he just probably had the worst start of the games for him since his run. And then in heat 3, he didn't know what time it was to beat. It was one of the first times, one of the only times, quite frankly, we saw Rich kind of go all out and not just pace off everybody because he couldn't. And destroyed everybody. I mean, Josh Bridges was second on that. And the fact that Josh Bridges was second on that means it's an anatomical workout. No offense, Josh. I bet Colton Mertens would be pretty good at this workout too.
Very good.
And for Rich to beat everybody from heat 3, not knowing the scores, it's one of the greatest. It's one of the fittest men ever in his element, dominating. And it just, every time I talk about Rich, like one of his greatest things that he's done, the 21-15-9 always comes to my mind as one of his most dominating performances, even though it wasn't in heat 4. You know what I mean? Rich's MO was just outpacing everybody, and then eventually he would beat you in the end. Right? Sundays he just recovered better than everybody else. This was unique to that.
He didn't care about Z-score. He looked over and said, if I beat you by a second, that's all I have to do.
Yeah.
And this event, I rewatched it today, and because it's on my list too, just a little bit higher. And rewatching it, like I remember, he never looked to the side. And like every other time when he was in the
that's what he was doing,
or in the tennis stadium, he'd look to the side and see where everybody was. And this time it was like there was none of that. It was just, I'm going to show you how fit I am, and I'm going to beat you guys. It's set a time to beat, and you guys can't do it.
Yeah, and when you set a time to beat, and nobody can beat it, you kind of dominated everybody because it's so much easier to beat a time than to set a time.
Yep. Tyler, regionals.
I think it's 2013.
Hey, so Tyler, it's called Top 5 Event Performances at the Games. Not regionals.
I tried to play by those rules, John. I really did. But
don't look at regionals. We might do a top 5 event performances at regionals.
Was it better than Warheads last year at semifinals?
The 81-point comeback?
Yes. The two criteria for me were domination.
Let him talk about this. It's not the games. No. We'll have a top 5 at regionals.
Do you know this performance? Are you familiar with it?
This is the clean
It's 2013.
One, right?
It's not. It's not
rope climbs and cleans.
Yes. So in
fact 2013,
Marcus Hedren. So Graham had the championship ticket to the games, and Rich had one as well. But they were only qualifying
3 people in the Central Regional.
3 at the time. And Marcus had to get in the top 3, or he had to win this workout.
He was like
6. He did. Or he had to get a certain amount of points in this workout, and he absolutely got what he needed to. And they sent 5 to the regionals that year from that place. And then they never ever did that again. But Marcus had to shoot a 3 from the fucking stands, and he did it. And I think it was an amazing performance. And so that was my other criteria, was domination, or you had to absolutely perform your ass off, or you were going to get cut or something like that.
Is Colton the new Marcus Hendren? Is this generation's Marcus Hendren from a farm
Marcus
boy
is
strong?
Huge.
No, not the same person, but farm boy strong. Just
America.
Yeah. Yes. Ignore the physical, what they look like.
I can't,
or anything,
because that's what
ignore everything about them except for that they both are farmers.
Colton is the farm boy thing is just adds to it, but no, the 5'4" is what makes Colton Colton. He could be one of the fittest men in the world at 5'4".
I'm not discrediting that. No.
Tyler, you're about to get married. How tall is your soon-to-be wife?
5'5".
Towers over Colton. and that man is one of the fittest men in the world. That's what makes him, is that he can overcome that height. Marcus Hendren ain't that.
No, Marcus Hendren ain't that. But I like what you're saying though. He has that presence, that quiet work ethic. Yeah,
it was an amazing performance. Yes, it was. It
was. I couldn't knock it out. It was just too good.
Before we move on, Mal beating Tia in the wall walk event.
I thought about that one. It was in my original 9.
Khalifa winning row 1 and 2. That was in one of mine. Khalifa rode like a 6:30 2K.
Yeah.
To start that off, which was nuts. Spencer Hendel. This was also in my top 9, top 10 list, but it did not make it.
All right, let's go to number 4.
Katrin sitting on the ground waiting, and then going on to win the games.
Hey, if y'all want to say
thought about
top 5 smartest decisions at the games, that's probably up there. That one.
That's why I thought about it, because a lack of performance is
you did not think of it. Get out of here.
I did.
Get out of here.
If he's including regional events, then he might have been thinking.
Yeah, there are no rules. You guys set the rules, and I kind of work around them.
Did whatever. All right, number 4. I have Jacqueline Dahlstrom at the 2022 sandbag ladder. She lifted 240 pounds, which was nuts. Took second. I mean, she beat Tia. Tia did 210 pound. Was her best bag. I beat Amanda Barnhart, Laura Horvath, Brooke Wells was up there. So
that's insane.
That was unreal. That was one of the best moments. If it wasn't for the Capitol, that would have been even more talked about. But
every time she picked that bag up, I was sitting not very far in front of her, and I was like, "There's no way, there's no way." And then she just wiggle it up there every time.
It made me. It's gonna sound bad, but it really made me wish Spiegel did not make the games. Because if she would have won it. Yes, if it wasn't for Danny Spiegel, she would have won it. She would have won.
Yeah,
that'd be even bigger.
I need to see clips of these things. 100% wish we could do that, but I'll get a little strike mark by.
Can we show pictures
by our friends.
Oh yeah,
stills.
I don't have a Caleb. I need a Caleb that can kind of do that stuff on the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe on the next one we'll figure out a way to do that to kind of go back and forth. John, Ricky, the Capitol last year.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everybody talks about Fusile on this because she took an hour to carry the bag up the stairs. But if you go back and watch this event, Roman and Hopper go out to a thick lead. They're ahead of everybody by a lot. They're maybe 400 meters ahead of Lazar and Ricky on the run. And then Lazar and Ricky, little by little, catch them on the run. That's what Lazar and Ricky do. So, that's not surprising. But Roman and Hopper are both pretty darn good runners themselves. And then Lazar kind of tries to get in front of everybody, and I respect him for this. But Roman gets to the jerry cans faster than Ricky does. So Roman's ahead of Ricky, and you carry heavy sandbags in your hands, and then you carry a Husafeld bag up the stairs. Now, if you were to put your money on who's going to win that battle, it's Roman all day, every day. That's what Roman. You'll talk about farm boys strong. He's Russian forest strong. Okay, and that's stronger than people on the farm. And if you want, and then
disagree. That was anti-American. You need to get booted.
And then so on the sandbag, he lifts it. Or the Husafeld song. He lifts it up, and then you have to go and hold it like this when you're on the stairs. He went from here and just transitioned when everybody else put it down. And at that point, I was like, and I was on my Roman train then. I loved Roman. I wanted Roman to win. And I was like, dude, that dude.
He immediately abandoned Roman.
Untouchable. Roman's freaking nuts. You can't stop this man. And then Ricky did stop him because Ricky he put that bag down and Ricky beat him up the stairs with that bag, something I would not have seen from Ricky. And it made me respect Ricky so much more. That's the first time. That's the
Call me Johnny.
Hey, listen, we don't need to put that comment on the
Vindicate.
Okay.
Make that shirt, please. Please make that shirt. Call me Johnny.
I'd rather be Roman's son than call me Johnny. But this event is the first time I thought Ricky Garrard could win the CrossFit Games. Not in 2022, but I'm just like period. Thought that he's got what it takes. I think he can win the games either this year or years to come. And that you don't get moments like that with very many people. And he's one of them that has done that. And I don't know. I was amazed by his performance, and I think it's underrated. I don't think people talk about it like they should.
Yeah. And now Tyler, Mal O'Brien, 2021 event 4.
The comments have already hit on it, but I mean, for that, you have to think about how bad that workout sucks. Wall walks and thrusters, heavy thrusters.
And she went unbroken on the thrusters too, didn't she?
Went unbroken, yes. And she was confident. She never looked frazzled the whole time.
Those words.
She never looked frazzled the whole time. And at that point, we hadn't seen, I think, that she could beat Tia. And it was like, oh, wait a minute. I loved her swagger during that event. It was poised, and it was a truly dominant performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's rare you get to see somebody take it to like the universal fittest person in the world. Like people were scared of Matt. The girls are scared of Tia because they know that she's on a different level. And for a rookie to kind of like take it to her, like I'm gonna show you how to wall walk, Miss Tia.
What was scary was how watching her breathe in that event. Like she never looked like she was trying hard. It's just like she would break like in between. She would take a breath between segments and then go again. And I was like, I'll never have whatever that is. Like she just was never frazzled the entire time. Yeah, fitness. I'll never have that fitness. That's for sure.
Jeff, where is Jake Douglas? You have to go back to the start. So he was on for the first 15, 20 minutes. And go back, rewatch, or stay with us until the end and then go back. So, we do quick interviews at the beginning and then we hit the topics. Number 3, I have Josh Bridges' 2014 push-pull. That was just an awesome event.
Why does everyone like that so much? It's just
I'm with you, Tyler.
Cool moment.
I'm with you, Tyler. 100%.
It was just an awesome. Yeah, it was an awesome
overrated thing ever.
Overrated.
Yeah, Josh Bridges won a handstand push-up event. Wow. Did we not expect that?
It was
I think the rope pull.
Rich Froning got second in a handstand push-up sled pull event.
We just talked last week that Froning was one of the best at handstand push-ups.
He's not Josh Bridges.
That's all right. It was still an awesome, fun event to watch. Like, if you go back and want to look at a highlight of something that was exciting to watch, that was it. And Josh, Rich was coming on strong at that end and beat him out by 2 seconds. It was, if nothing else, it was just cool to watch that event unfold and hold him off. So that is why.
Also, a note about those shorts.
Pick, so
yeah, I agree with you. You're ahead of the regional pick. 100%.
Fair enough.
100%.
Those shorts that they're wearing in that event look so comfortable, and I've always wanted a pair. It's like that stupid thing that you would pay like way too much money for. A pair of those shorts, not they're too shorts, but just they look so comfortable. I just want a pair so bad. Anyway,
okay.
If anybody can get me a pair of those shorts, I'd really appreciate it.
Goodness. Travis, if you could come out with some red shorts, Tyler would be real thankful. Just put 2014 on them. You don't have to put anything else on it.
All right. John with Carrie Pierce, 2020 Atlanta.
Yeah. And I had 2019 in there too, Tyler, in my top 9. So she had a couple of ones that were really impressive. The reason why I picked Atalanta over that is just because it meant more. Again, I know I downplayed spins, but like the big thing about her 2019 Mary is that she beat all the guys too. But again, I'm pretty sure Carrie Pierce can do like 75 strict handstand push-ups in a row. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I think she can. I'm pretty sure I've heard that before. She should do that, right? At Atlanta, she for third place to make the podium in American hasn't made the podium since Julie Fouché in 2014. And for Katrin to be breathing down her throat, she's not a good runner. Katrin's decent at running. And if you watch her when she comes off the pull-ups, and at Atlanta, just doing that workout's a freaking war. Okay, that workout's an hour long. It's a war to get through it. If you watch her take off on that last mile, she sprints for her life. And Kotler is screaming, "Kill yourself!" Like he's screaming for her to just basically, go into a place you've never went before. You just run until your heart stops. And you watch her sprint, and she's tiny little Carrie Pierce, and she's just moving her little legs as fast as she can. And then, like, she turns the corner of that big, long row before Katrin gets off, and Katrin's like, I don't want to work that hard, right? Like, for her to put that into Katrin, who's one of the more harder working people in the games, I thought that was special. And then it just meant so much because that put her on the podium, and she was 5th place. If you remember that year, because it's all weird because only 5 people. Like 5th through 3rd were within 2 spots of each other, like 20 points. And so she went from 5th to 3rd. It puts her on the podium. If you go back and track, her first mile was 8 minutes. Her second mile was also 8 minutes. It's pretty incredible. After 100 handstand push-ups, 200 pistols, and 300 pull-ups. I just think that this workout in general meant a lot for America. Let me erase.
It's too late, John.
Any preconceived thoughts. And that's why it's up there.
Better dead than red.
Tyler, any thoughts on Mary for why you put it there other than what John said?
I mean, like John said, yes, she should be able to do it, but being able to do it versus actually doing it on game day in the mix of all of that fatigue that they're under, it was just
super BA.
Yeah.
Yes. And like beating all the guys, especially in a workout that's upper body dominant, get out of here, dude. Like
I think that would be higher if the hard part is it was just an AMRAP, right? So it was tough to watch on the competition floor and I was there, so I didn't see the live stream, but like any of the time of that, like you're not crossing the finish line. So, yes, they try to advance them down the field, but it just doesn't have the same meaning as if you had finished and watched somebody a minute behind you finish, right? So I think that's kind of maybe why some people overlook it as well. Is it's an AMRAP, and reps are harder to put into context than time.
That's a good point. And I only watched it on the live stream. And I thought the live stream of that event was super exciting. And it was like one of those times where they only focused on one athlete, and I didn't care because I was like, there's no way she can keep going this fast. And she just kept going.
See, they did a good job at especially the last 5 minutes, like amping up the excitement of that particular workout. I was bored until the last 5 minutes. But the last 5 minutes, I mean, I was in it. I wanted to see who wins.
Right.
Knowing Matt was fun. I thought they did a good job making that exciting because it is a boring thing to have in the games.
Yeah.
Number 2, here's where I have Rich Froning's 21-15-9 complex. We've already talked about it, but I put it up there just from it's just you never seen Froning in that kind of mindset before. So
right.
John with Josh Bridges 2016 Murph
Well, we all know I'm the
I
most
thought about those.
patriotic guy on the panel. And
You're trying too hard now, John.
For a Navy SEAL to come, like, didn't make it in 2015, and so BKG won Murph, and like when he said that was a hard pill to swallow, and like if you watch him, I mean, if you watch the documentary of this, like when they talk about Murph in this, it's just so awesome. But like in that workout, it didn't look like anybody else was going to win. Like from the start, as soon as they hit the pull-ups, it was like, oh, Josh is untouchable. Josh is going to win this workout. And like he kept it the whole time. It just seemed like he was untouchable in this workout. And if you really put it into context, like Matt Fraser was Matt Fraser at this point. You know what I mean? He did just win that trail run. He was the monster that is Matt Fraser. He's 5'6". He's made for this workout. You know, he's made to do really, really good in this workout. And I know
he's
Josh
a
Bridges
good runner too.
Yeah, and Josh Bridges is made to do really good in this workout too, but he's not Matt Fraser.
Yeah.
And the fact that he beat Matt pretty comfortably, I don't know. And then the Navy SEAL winning Murph, it's just you don't get very much more storybook than this event for one person.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I really, really just think it's one of the best games performances of all time.
Yeah. His celebration at the end was awesome too. So
if you're Matt in that event, do you try to beat Josh?
I think Matt's trying to. What's right behind him? He was second.
Yeah.
I don't think they were very close though. If you beat somebody by 10 seconds, they weren't that close to you on a run.
No.
I'm looking it up. But to talk about Matt Fraser and Friendly Fran, I mean, like we talked about it earlier, it's the most dominant performance of any workout of all time. It will never be done ever again. He beat Noah, I think got second on that, and he beat Noah by like half. Like, get out of here. And then on that workout too, like there's not a lot of room to make in that workout. Are you kidding me? It's thrusters and pull-ups.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, Fran is like, you can only go so fast, and he did that in that workout. And
did Noah go unbroken?
I think so.
I think he went unbroken, and then the last set he did like 15-6. So if you're Noah and you basically go unbroken, and then you see Matt beat you by 50 seconds, how do you think that's possible? I feel like I would see that and I'd be like, that's not possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. It's hard to explain. Also, I think it's 15, not 16, Murph.
No, because BKG won in 15.
Yeah, it was the second one.
I wonder if the events are out of order again. They do this all the time. Anyway.
Bailey Demena, not only did Fraser beat them all, but he had no idea how fast they were since it was all virtual. So like you couldn't even pace it. Like you just had to go and see how everybody else did. Like I imagine he finished and was like, I probably did pretty well, but had no idea he was going to be that much faster.
I think he probably knew he won that event, but I don't think he
not that much
dominated people by that much.
Yeah.
Josh was a full minute ahead of Matt.
Right behind him. Get out of here.
Right behind him.
Andrew Reyes.
As in second, yes, I guess.
Right behind him. Do we know what Barry's talking about Froning and Andrew on the last set of thrusters?
He's talking about team last year. They were another team was ahead of them, and then they did 7 thrusters unbroken. Barry, that's not one of the greatest performances at the games. I'm sorry. It
was a cool performance. And I thought about trying to work teams in too, and that was the event that I thought of because
oh my gosh, I would have just left the podcast.
I remember Rich said he was like uncomfortable. He was like, I don't really want to. He was like, we're gonna go unbroken, I guess.
Dudley Walden, Sam Briggs, 2015 Murph. Yeah, I mean it's another good performance, but you don't have the Navy SEAL. She's
not
European,
American
so
enough.
On the story.
Can't do it.
Yeah, she's not from America. I hate everybody that's not from America.
And number one, let's see what your number one is. See if you change your mind. Nope. Jason Khalipa.
Tyler. That doesn't count.
The title says performances. Is that
Event.
whole day
Event performances.
Athlete event performances.
all of those events?
All of them. He's great.
He got first, like every single one.
Goodness
John.
gracious. We have to go over the rules before we make these things? Gosh. Khalipa's was up there for me too, Brian. Khalipa's the only reason I didn't have like Khalipa's almost made the top 5 for me. The only reason I didn't have it in the top 5 was because anything before 2010, I kind of like, okay, because like I bet I could beat his time, and
I get
you know what
it.
I mean, like that, and that's why. But the games was so bad. That was the worst games as far as events go, like how it's scored. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's bad.
And like the
was
reason
bad.
his is so historic is because he was like 8th place and then he won because he was a minute faster than everybody on this one event. But it's because there was 4 events and they were trashed. They were all 4 minutes.
Less than. Yeah.
You know what I mean though? Like that's why it's so historic, is because he won. If he didn't win the games on this, would it be your number 1?
No.
Exactly.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's why, like, and I had it up there still. But that's why so many caveats came into it for me for that. But it is super BA.
I mean, it made every second count. Like that
it did make the documentary.
Like, that documentary got.
Yeah.
It'd be great if Sevon was following real people.
I love that everybody they followed didn't do great.
Just trash.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Everett
Like
still
it
did
made.
good.
Yeah. I mean, Josh.
He still. Yeah, but he was the only one.
John Wellborn. Why are we following John Wellborn? He was 112th place.
I love John Wellborn.
They need to look at the events first and then realize that he had no chance on the hill run.
Right. It's almost as if Dave knew that Savon was going to do that, and he programmed it just to screw him.
If it's only 4 events, you think they're not going to run on one of them, John? Like, why are we following John Wellborn?
I guess they did have Thiel. He got 3rd. So yeah, I mean, but it was just amazing. You watch that, and obviously everybody, you're rooting for Spieler going into that, and
time out. I'm sorry, Brian. Yeah. Spieler got screwed. If you look at the events, he was better than everybody the whole time. The whole time was like handedly better than everybody. They had that deadlift burpee event. That deadlift burpee event's a big boy event. That's fast, right?
Yeah. And
still beat everybody. Like, he was handedly above everybody. And then that one event, he got 36th place in. And then I'm not saying he should have won, but he got screwed. Like, if you go across, if it was like 10 events like it is now, I think Spieler might have a shot at winning the games because he was more skilled than everybody, more endurance than everybody. He's just not going to do good on 30 thrusters with 155.
Yeah. Yeah, he did 7:27 was his time. 7:27. Yeah.
First, 4th, 2nd, and then 46th. Like it just dominant over everybody. I think he got screwed on that, but Dave made up for it with 2010 because he threw him a ball in that year.
47th, but yeah, it was.
I had rescored it using Z-score, and Josh Everett would have gotten 1st. Jason Khalipa would have gotten 2nd. And Chris Spieler would have gotten 5th instead of 10th overall. So, yeah.
10th overall.
The scoring was a little.
Hey, you throw one event that's 20 minutes, Khalipa's not there.
At that time,
yeah, probably not. Especially in those days, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's.
Yeah.
No offense,
I just wish that it would have been, if you could have taken that and put it onto, like, a big screen, like, in the middle of the tennis stadium.
It'd have been
like,
nuts if you knew the times and like you just see Jason beating everybody.
Yeah.
It'd have been pretty darn crazy.
Yeah, you'd have been like, what is this dude doing? Who is this the whole time?
What's funny, and this is props to Sevon, like it looks neck and neck. Jason beats Everett by a minute in totality, right? So that means once Jason was done and they scroll over and he's like, yeah, and we don't know who he is, right? once they scroll over to that happened, Everett still took a whole minute to finish his 30.
He beat him by more than a minute.
No.
Minute and a half.
I'm saying in total.
Overall? Yeah.
So they made it seem like Everett was like at 28 and then Jason won. Or, he was right there.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a whole minute
He never
later.
had a chance.
Yeah, it wasn't close.
Yeah. John, Matt Frazier, 2019, The Standard. That was a cool event.
Yeah, and the reason it's not just because Matt was probably going to win. He needed to get like second to win. So like Noah could have beat him in this workout and he still would have won. So it was kind of not over, but the reason why I have this on here though, as my favorite, it's just my favorite one. But Matt puts himself into an unneeded hole. He doesn't pace this event properly. It's one of the worst events I've ever seen him pace, to be honest with you. He gets on the ring muscle ups, and Noah, fantastic at ring muscle ups, one of the best ring muscle uppers out there. Noah goes like 5 and 5 on all of them, and Matt goes 10 unbroken. And then he gets to the second one, 10 unbroken. And then he gets to that third set of ring muscle ups and does like 3. And I was like, oh my God, you just killed yourself. What have you done? Because, one, you're Matt freaking Fraser and you just exploded yourself. And then he's behind Noah. Noah's ahead of him. BKG's ahead of him. Noah's like 5 reps into a snatch, 4 or 5 reps into a snatch. And then Matt doesn't care. He gets off the rings. He sits down and chalks, and then he looks at him. He sees Noah snatch, and he's like, "That's cute." And then he gets to his bar, and then he just starts going touch and go. And when you hear the crowd roar when Matt goes touch and go, like when it was live, I had goosebumps watching Matt go touch and go. And then he just passed everybody. I know he didn't go touch and go the whole time. If the judge didn't no rep him, I think he would have went no touch and go longer than he did. Yeah. But gets touch and goes until he's ahead of Noah, and then he singles it out, and then he wins the event, and he just does it so like he did that after putting himself into a hole on the ring muscle ups because he paced improperly.
Yeah.
And Noah paced perfectly. And it was just so dominating, even though it didn't look like a dominating event, it was dominating. It's just you had to analyze it a little bit further to see that. And you had to watch him when he goes and chalks after the ring muscle ups. Like he's finished with the ring muscle ups. And then he goes and sits down and then chalks up and looks at Noah, just looks at him. Like, well, let's see what he's doing. All right. Let me get to my bar. And then just takes off and like you can't stop him. And then the documentaries, like he after he did it, you probably hype it up a little bit after you did it, right? But like he did that, and then he goes, "I would have died before anybody let me lose that." I don't know about that, but it just it hit me all in the feels. The way Rich's 21-15-9 hits Brian in the feels, like that hit me in the feels, and that's why it's my number one. It's just my favorite.
Yeah.
For a multitude of reasons.
It's a good one. And then Tyler just picks Sunday because.
All right, that's cool. What's the next thing? What's the next thing
to
talk
about? It's the crescendo of an entire movie.
Rich did really good on the last day. That's cool. What's next?
He got first in 3 events in the last day of the CrossFit Games. And let me remind you, this was also the year we watched Rich walk. I'll never forget where I was when he walked. I was squatting with metal
himself for Sunday.
Yeah, on 333, I don't think so. I'll never forget. We were watching it at the gym, and I was squatting with metal plates, and because I remember because I was worried about making too much noise so people could watch it. And I stopped squatting. I turned around, and he starts to walk, and I just said, "Oh my God!" And no one talked. Everybody was just like, "What is happening?" And I'll never forget that moment as long as I live. Because I mean, like
the commentators didn't do him any favors either, because they're like,
no,
man, he's got to be like cramping or he's hurt or something. No, he's walking.
Chase said you can't.
There ain't nothing wrong with him. He can't run. That's what's wrong with him. He can't run.
Chase said you can't walk, brother. You can't walk. and so like he had an okay day one, and then like he hits that 37th, and then he gets a 15th and a 27th. And I remember I was like he was CrossFit Jesus at that moment. And we were like, is Rich gonna lose?
Yeah.
And it was like a really scary moment. And then he gets 21:59 in the 21:59 complex, he gets first. And I was like, okay. And then it was like muscle up biathlon 13th, which was weird because he's really good at muscle ups.
And he made a mistake during that. He should have been like 5th, and he just because he didn't do it properly, he got 13th. Or he thought he could have went unbroken, and he sold his soul and didn't make it.
Yeah. And then sprint carry, another 15th. And then in the speed clean ladder, I'll never forget, he barely makes it into that one heat. Yes. And he was like shitting bricks, and then they finally makes it. So he gets 9th in that one, and then push-pulls when it all starts to come together. And then that was that evening. And then the next day he was like, okay, I'm going to put on the absolute clinic here. And then that's how the movie ends. And the, greatest of all time. Like,
so it was Midline Madness, and then the
Thick
Cincos.
And Quick.
Oh, no.
Thick and Quick.
Midline Madness, and then Thick and Quick, and then the Double Grace.
Yeah. And Double Grace is not fun to win.
So 2 of those events, though, I mean, it is great.
They're all
wheelhouse workouts for him.
Yes.
GHDs and lunging. Okay, overhead squats and rope climbs, and then barbell cycling.
And I've never liked this about the games, in that they program very CrossFit stuff on the last day. And I get why they do it, but
because they want the best CrossFitter to be the fittest person.
Right.
Like, yeah.
To show up. I get why they do it, but I think it takes a lot of excitement out when you're just going to watch 3 CrossFit events, 3 gym events. But regardless, I mean, to get first three in a row on no matter what it is in a short time span, that it was cool.
I think if the events were out beforehand, which I know they're not, but if you just knew the events beforehand, you'd pick Rich for first on all of those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
but maybe not if I knew they were back to back like that.
No, they're all in his wheel. Everybody's got to do
back to back. I'd say it's more like likely he's going to do it
because everybody's tired and they're his best stuff.
Right, fair.
Yeah.
Regardless, great
Alyssa
performance.
says she needs to rewatch these. For anybody that didn't ever watch that with Thick and Quick, it was great when Rich stole Fraser's chalk off of the crash pad. That was a great moment. So when I post
his save on the overhead squat, honestly, is an amazing save because it's super narrow. His overhead squat that what he chose to roll with, and he. I mean, got taken for a ride and then still did the last 2.
For a long time, the 14 games were my favorite of all time. I love all the workouts.
If you look at, and here's a summary of it. I mean, I have 2 from 2014, 2 from 2022. The Echo Press. So, I didn't even realize it. And I put my list together. I was like, oh, I guess I have favorite years that I watched.
Yeah. It was hard. I wanted to pick a lot of older events, and I tried not to because I was like, oh, that's pretty biased because I haven't been a fan of a lot of the stuff here lately.
The Savon podcast, COS, there was an article that said Franny was dehydrated during 333 from being sick earlier in the week.
No
excuses.
Yeah.
I think it was after that event, Savon was filming him. And he's like, what's going on, man? And he goes, I just suck.
Yeah, there we go. Rich would say, that's one thing I appreciate about Rich. He's not going to give excuses.
Yeah. And Darren was trying as hard as he could to pep him up.
And he's not having it. He's like, get out of here, Darren. I don't need you right now.
Yeah, so I will when I post this tomorrow for the Hit the podcast. I want to put a link on for all of the different to all the YouTube videos, so you can go back and watch those events. Because you go back and watch those finishes are awesome.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that'd be a good set of clips.
Yep. So go check that out.
As always, if you guys want us to do a top 5, like throw it in the comments after the video, and then we will look through all of the comments and we will pick one from the comments. So throw your top 5 in there, what you want to hear us do, and then we'll research it and come up with our list.
Yep. And then
top 5 Sevon comment fans.
I mean, I don't know.
Trish.
I'd have to do my research. Yeah, Trish is probably number 1.
Yeah, Barry.
YOLO. If anybody remembers YOLO, that was back in the old days, though.
I mean, I'd probably put Jeff in there because he loves me. Wad Zombie probably be in there. He's a good guy. Barry McCockiner. Just so you say it.
I think top 5 things we love about Russia.
I mean, Roman is number 1. So.
All right, guys. Good show. If you have
Rocky 4, we don't have Rocky 4 without Russia.
True.
One of the greatest movies of all time.
All we needed was a near-death experience for like an entire decade for that to be true. Thanks, John.
Yep.
Great movie.
Good one tonight, guys. Jake Douglas was great to have on. The Spin top 25 games poll is now out. It's out there on the Barbell Spin. Rewatch it if you need to. Go join the Patreon. Be part of the fan poll. Contribute to it. Top 5. We'll do another top 5 next week and see what other.
Go subscribe to the Patreon.
That's right. John needs to get to that 50,000
job. My mom subscribed to the Patreon, so
there you go.
Being in high school all over again, my parents should pay for everything.
Yep, Jackie.
If you do one thing, join the fan poll for real. Like that's so cool, and this should have existed before. So go ahead.
It should have. Yep. I'm very excited to see the fan poll next to the board of analysts poll that we have, or what the spin poll.
Spin poll.
Fan poll next to the spin poll. That sounds like a dirty joke, but I'm excited to see that.
Yep. Fun as always. Thank you, Alyssa. We'll see how that goes, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another show. So thanks, guys. See you next week.